on this computer. Great. Hi. It's working, hopefully. My name is Tim Errickson. I am the artistic director of the Boomerang Theater Company, and I'm very proud to having a chat today with my friends, the Buttery Barmaids. I'll give you a little brief intro from the Buttery Barmaids. They have been playing together since June of 2018 at various venues in the New York City metro area, including the Rainbow Room, House of Yes, the Red Room, White Eagle Hall, Actors Guild Hall, and many, many more. And I get my pleasure to introduce the barmaids. The barmaids are Joanna Howard.
Hi.
Is Annalisa Loeffler. And Sevrin and Mason.
Hello.
This is exciting. So thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate this. And
Happy to be here.
so we're recording this today. It is Friday, June 5th, 2020. It goes without saying there's been so many things that everybody in New York City has been dealing with from the end of March and beginning of March all the way through till now. And it has not been easy for anybody to be creative during all of this going on. So my first question to the three of you is, how is it all going? How are you each holding up?
As a band or individually?
Just whatever, it doesn't matter.
Loaded question.
It is a loaded question.
It's not an easy one, but
All right.
Sevrin, it seemed like you wanted to jump in there.
Well, just from a personal perspective, like, it's been super up and down, and I'm sure as everybody has experienced, like, the journey of COVID is sort of like what the journey of being at home is, which is it gets better and then it gets worse and then it gets better and then it gets worse and then eventually you sort of start to figure it out and it gets a little bit better. But we've all said this so many times to each other that we are so grateful to be able to have each other during this. And it has been my experience that being able to create things with the band during this time is the one thing that sort of makes it possible for me to be sheltering in place at home by myself.
Yeah. Joanna, how about you?
I definitely agree with that, with what Sevrin said. I think that also we have each expressed at different times that we're kind of tapped out. So it's not always possible for us to deliver each day. But having said that, knowing that there's an outlet waiting for us when we have the means, the emotional means, is really a lifesaver.
That's awesome. And Lisa, how about you?
Ditto, surprise, surprise. We're one of the great things about the band is it's a little bit of a shared brain. We agree in all the ways that are important, but we also provide balance and counterbalance in ways that, you know, we're not all the same, but it all is very yin. So I agree with everything they're saying, and we've all hit our walls for the most part at different places and sort of been able to rally around each other and keep each other going. We all kind of hit the wall at the 6-week mark. Like right after I had read this article in the Washington Post about how when you've gone through a big life change, it usually takes about 6 weeks before the new reality really begins to set in. And I think every single one of us within like a 36-hour span, right at that 6-week mark, kind of went, oh, I can't, what, no. Right. And, you know, and we all sort of regrouped and had a huge email exchange that was really uplifting, and, you know, started looking at, okay, what are we going to do?
And quoted in the New York Times as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
that's true.
It was.
Oh, that's awesome. We'll link to that. That's fantastic.
Well, you know, maybe not, because the funny thing was this long exchange was all about, you know, how are we staying positive and everything. And the one line that they excerpted from this whole interview was the part about, oh, it's so dark and everything's so awful. And so she's like, well,
that's true.
Right.
Did they quote me accurately? Yes.
But that's exactly what you take away from a ukulele up-tempo band is the darkness, right?
Yeah.
Well, you would be surprised.
I'm sure.
How many dark songs we have.
We do. We actually, right. We have to be careful about what content we put out there, knowing that there might be kids watching, because we like to do some really edgy stuff.
Okay. There you go.
Hence,
you heard it here.
Hence the House of Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
So I was saying earlier, I've never been in a band. Never. Always wanted to be, never been in a band. So I don't know, in all of the things that we've done together, like that we've worked on together, how does a band work? Like, who gets the idea? Who calls who? Like, how do you write a song? How does it work?
It's funny. Somebody had asked me that a while back, a musical theater friend of mine, and said, well, who's the music director and who does the arrangements and who conducts you and how do you hold your rehearsals? And I said, it's completely collaborative. One of us will have a burning desire to do a song and kind of like campaign for it. And we do all unanimously decide on things together. But if somebody comes to the table with a really great idea, we usually allow that idea to really run its course. And we do our best to support that idea and then add in our own elements. And I think if anyone were to listen to our entire library of music, they would see that it's all very balanced. Like who's taking lead vocals and who's doing harmonies here and who's soloing where. It's all really, really collaborative. And we make sure that we keep an eye on that at all times. So there's not any ego, nobody's in front, nobody's back up. It's all completely together. And we want each other to feel good. You know, that's kind of the main thing. That's why this all started, was because it was fun and it felt good. We weren't like, ooh, let's start a band. It was like, oh, this works. Oh, do you want to join this thing? Oh yeah, we're just having fun. And then it was like, oh, suddenly we're a band and we're playing at House of Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
What? How'd that happen?
It did all happen very, very quickly. Which surprised all of us. It's very appropriate that you're interviewing us today, Tim, because really the Buttery Barmaids were birthed by Boomerang. As you know, Annalisa and I did 12th Night together and started singing together as a result of that particular show, and started performing under the moniker of Buttery Barmaids, which is a direct quote from 12th Night, bring your hand to the buttery bar and let it drink. That's where our name comes from. So we started with you, and it's great to be here with you. And then the way that Joanna became involved was literally a few weeks later in the same exact spot where we had our backstage for 12th Night. I had a birthday party, and all I wanted was to sing with my friends. And of course, Annalisa was there, and we were singing, and Joanna showed up, and I hadn't seen her in a couple of years. So it was
years.
Lovely, lovely surprise that she showed up, and she couldn't stay long, and she was about to go, and I was like, well, you can't leave without singing a song. What would you like to do? And she looked through my book, and she picked out Tennessee Waltz. And we started playing Tennessee Waltz on the uke, and Annalisa and I started singing, and all of a sudden there was this 3-part harmony, and we all sort of looked at each other, and we were like, this is special. This can't be a one-time thing.
It's amazing.
So it did all happen very organically and very quickly, and really, as soon as we started singing together publicly, which was a month later, the three of us together, things sort of tumbled very quickly. It was 6 months by the time we got our first gig at House of Yes, and then they just kept sort of coming. So we didn't really plan for any of it. We just were following what brought us joy.
I mean, it's not easy being rock stars, you know, let's face it. In quarantine or any other time.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have groupies?
We have a few people that follow us. Yeah, if there's a few.
They're really lovely. They're really lovely, and they make us feel really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They really do. It's also like part of our collaborative thing is that, you know, we do all work together, and there are room for everybody's ideas, but we have a system that has sort of organically developed. And we managed to adapt that system for remote participation.
Great, that's awesome.
So that it was remarkable to me how fast that worked. But usually, like the way we operate is somebody pitches a song, and then usually we would work on that song at home and then have our rehearsal, and we would all try out several things in the room together. But with sheltering in place and not being able to see each other, that system has become, we have a song, somebody records a version of it and sends it out to the rest of us, and we try to come up with ideas. And somebody will send back a recording with a new harmony line and say, like, how does this work? And then somebody else will be like, oh, that's great, I had this idea. Or if you're there, I need to figure out where I need to fit. And we really do it individually, but together. So we're sending back and forth sound files, and eventually a whole piece sort of emerges.
That's fantastic.
It's been really fun.
Yeah, it seems like it's a very organic process of like, here's the master right now. Here's mm-hmm. 4 ideas or whatever, and then like mm-hmm. layering onto different things.
Yeah, we do.
It's a very efficient way of working too. I think, you know, sometimes when you're in a rehearsal and you're coming up with ideas, and you only have, let's say, 2 hours of a rehearsal, you might leave with like a couple of half-baked ideas, but nothing really solid. But with this new way of working, you know, someone will email an idea, and then the other 2 people will think about it. And when they have time, they'll sit down and add theirs and send it on to the next person. So it seems to work well with our schedules too. And, you know, our work day, our home lives, you know, it's efficient.
And so do you keep, sorry, go ahead.
You put in your time when you feel like you're inspired and you have it. We obviously do have deadlines because there are things that we've committed to. But really there's a lot of leeway you don't have to work when you're not feeling it. And, you know, if you're feeling it at 3:00 in the morning, it's there for you if you want it.
And so do you like keep versions of different things in like a Dropbox or something like that, so you can go back and refer and like add parts from this and parts from that?
Yeah, Dropbox, that was Sevrin's big, you know, idea contribution in the beginning, was that we all get on Dropbox, and we have a Buttery Barmaids folder, and then within the folder there are all of these different files of, you know, recorded songs, mm-hmm. of set lists, proposed things, marketing materials. So it's all very organized.
That's great. That's super smart. And so that leads me to my next question of like how, because I'm so curious about how people who are collaborative stay connected, right? During all of this time when, you know, Sevrin, I think, was talking about it, and Joanna too, like you're not in a room together. How do you feel like you keep that bond or the creative like connection going, right? Like I can imagine there are times when it might feel like there's great space between the 3 of you because you can't physically, you know, stand next to someone and watch them play a note or hear it, you know, live. So how do you draw closer together with all of this?
It's been a learning lesson. We sort of have encountered the places where we feel far apart when we each sort of have meltdowns.
I get that.
And so, you know, one of us will have a meltdown, and we've become really close friends too. So you're having a meltdown over your work, and it's so nice to be able to call your colleague and like literally cry about it. And we also learned, I think, pretty early on that it was important for the 3 of us to check in together in some way with a regular frequency. So we have those things planned in. And then we also figured out that it was impossible to not see each other for so long. And so we started, the most recent development is that we started you know, social distant but in the same space meetings.
That's awesome.
And we're using those to both record video content, but also to rehearse and also just to like be in each other's company. So it really has been a learning curve. Go ahead, Annalisa.
Joanna I think it was Joanna, you had alerted us yesterday to the article in the New York Times about how you can safely hug.
Yep.
And I actually shared that during a different Zoom meeting yesterday, and people hadn't read it yet, and they were like, "What? Where is that? I need a hug. I need a hug."
Yeah.
And so this whole thing about, you know, how you hug, where you hug, where your face goes, and it just kind of, I don't know, people got very excited about it, and we're in the midst of planning our next in-person meeting. And hugs are definitely.
And we're gonna hug.
Hugs
are happening. We're gonna hug. We're gonna do our homework, figure out how to hug scientifically.
That is awesome. I'm going to look that up because I didn't see it either, so I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
We'll send it to you. I shared it too with some other friends. It's amazing. It's
awesome.
An amazing article. And
then my last question for you, the three of you, is when you're creating, whether you're in the same room or whether you're far apart, is there a piece of advice or something you keep in mind that sort of like gets you going through, whether it be writer's block or whether it be any kind of criticism, the inner voice of criticism or whatever it is that sort of holds you, things that hold you back, right? There's all these things as writers and creators that whatever it is, like, is there anything that you guys hang on to that, that you refer back to and say, that's right, don't forget this?
Definitely. And we're I don't know if you noticed, but we're all laughing because we don't know what you're talking about. No, we actually have all dealt with this many times. And I would say probably with each new song that we work on, whether it's just audio or we do a video as well, we reach out to each other and we're like, I'm terrible. This is bad. I don't know why I'm doing this. And usually it's just one of us during each song, but we definitely bolster each other up. But to answer your question, Tim, I love the idea that there's that you have to be almost not militant, but you have to be structured and just keep at it, and that not everything is expected to be a masterpiece, that you have to wake up every morning, and whether you do a little or whether you do a lot for your art, you just have to keep those muscles tight and just keep moving.
That philosophy of trying to do something every day is really helpful for me. I don't always succeed at it, but I really do try. And, having each other as a resource, having somebody else who's like, you are not talentless scum. You are actually pretty remarkable. To have each other in our ear is also really helpful. So I would say, like, something that somebody told me when I was young and pursuing acting in the city was like, find your herd, find your crowd. And one of the things that I always think about is something I heard a musician say on the radio once, which was like, if you've been following some performer for a long time and you are constantly there and they don't ask you to join them, find somebody new. And keep sort of finding new people until you find the people that work the way that you want to work.
And I would suspect that that's why the Buttery Barmaids kind of, I don't want to say took off as quickly as they did, but got so much traction so quickly because it's like we'd sort of been looking for this for a very long time. And then when we met each other, we were like, oh, here you are. Yeah. And so everything that happened just fell into place because of that, because we love each other, we support each other, and we have very similar ideas about what we want this to be.
Right.
There's a joy to it. Like I came up singing. I think much like these ladies, I started out in musical theater, decided, oh my God, musical theater people are crazy. I don't want to live my life this way. I'm going to go in a different direction. And then I quit singing for like 15 years. And then until Sarah pulled me in 2 years ago for 12th night. And I'm like, we're not cutting the songs. I don't sing anymore. I can't sing anymore. And like the journey of like coming back to that part of my life and readjusting to what I'm now capable of and having these guys to support me through that, because we've each got our little evil voice that sits in the back of our head, and yeah. It doesn't matter if it's a pandemic or the before times, that little voice pretty much hasn't changed. So it has its moments when it gets really loud, and we know enough about ourselves to be able to say, oh, there's that voice again, and also to say, hey guys, that voice is in my ear again. Can you speak up and drown it out a little bit? And it's amazing. I never would have expected this. Like, never. I used to joke that in my next life, I wanted to come back as a singer. And now I'm doing it.
You don't need to wait.
I don't have to wait.
That's awesome. So this ties into our very last thing. So where can we check out the Buttery Barmaids? People are going to look at this and they're going to get super excited and they're going to be hyped and they're going to want to either come see you or listen to recordings. So where should they go?
Marketing.
All right. So we have a few ways you can find us. We're on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and we have a website, and it's all The Buttery Barmaids. So you can easily find us that way. We're the only ones out there by that name. And we're in the process of making new content, but what we've already done is available on our website. That's probably the easiest way to see what we've done so far. But we're also a part of a monthly ukulele cabaret show that's been going on for 15 years. Oh, wow. And obviously the last few months have been online. And it actually encouraged us to come up with music videos that we've shot separately and edited together. Actually, Sevrin's sister, Clady, in California, has been editing our music videos. And it's brilliant the way she's... A fourth one, yes. We didn't know we needed her until she was there, and now she's essential. But she kind of weaves together all of these separate elements and kind of makes it this beautiful, cohesive music video. So we are a part of the next ukulele cabaret. And Sevrin, you probably know the date better than I do offhand, but
I believe it's the last Thursday in June.
Okay, and
it's like the 25th.
We're doing it.
Yeah, something.
That sounds right, but we can send you the information on that, and we'll be and it's the theme it's a theme every month, and this time it's Pride.
Yeah, of course.
So we're doing something special for that. I won't give any details away, but but we can send you the link, and people can either watch it live streaming that night, or it'll be available on our website afterward, or the Ukulele Cabaret website as well. And as far as after this is over, we had a few things planned, a few gigs planned, but obviously that's all in flux. But we're hoping to be doing some more live performances in the, I don't know, I don't even want to say a date, but
sure, sometime in the future.
We're not going to stop. Basically.
Yeah, you're unpredictable. You can't. We don't know when we're going to see you yet.
I mean, you'll probably see us out in the park next week shooting a music video.
Right. So. Which I heard the story of people stopping by to see your lip synced performance.
Yeah, and you heard. So we were filming in this alleyway by a park because that was where there were the fewest people, and we set up shop in front of this person's apartment, and they peeked out of the curtains at one point, and I kind of mouthed, "I'm sorry." And they stuck their head out and they said, "What are you doing? Is this a photo shoot?" I said, "Oh, we're a band. We're doing a music video. Sorry, we'll be out of your way soon." And the guy's like, "It's okay." And he goes out somewhere and he comes back half an hour later with coffees for us. He was like, "That's Here awesome. You go. Every photo shoot needs some coffee." We were like, "All right." So that's what we call buttery magic. There's this yellow brick road of magic that kind of extends out before us, and we're like, okay. So we just roll with it, but it seems to make, I think, our joy for what we do makes other people joyful too. So that's what we're going to keep doing.
I love that. I think that's a great way to end it right there. Buttery magic.
Buttery magic.
Buttery magic. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the three of you coming, and we're making content to fill in the gaps until we can all be together again. So I really appreciate you, the three of you, getting together and doing all that you do, and hanging tough and fighting the fight.
We really appreciate
Absolutely.
You
and asked us to do it because we have you to thank for it, really. If you hadn't put us in 12th night, we never would have met. This never would have happened.
Right.
My contribution to this is greatly overrated. Let's be fair. All right, that's it. I'm going to get out of here before you keep talking shit about me. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, Tim.
Bye,
ladies.